you.
Eva, you really seem to turn it on at the end of the first set and the second set, and then obviously with Lourdes get the big block to close it out. What is it about those tight sets down the wire that kind of brings the best out of you?
I don't know. I love pressure, and it's super fun to me to play in this type of atmosphere and to really give our fans a show because they come out and support us every day, and I'm glad that we got at least one more game in Holloway.
And then, Ellie, obviously, this seemed like there was no defense for a while. Both teams were hitting at a high percentage. How did you eventually catch on and maybe slow them down a little bit? They came off and got up to a hot start, but it seemed like once you caught on, you were able to kind of, I guess, alleviate some of that.
Yeah, I think we did a really good job tonight just adjusting as a team and not waiting for our coaches to make that change. So we just talked to each other in between points and said we need to change this, and I think it really worked for us.
Chloe,
I mean, when I'm back row, it's just such a luxury because I have such a big block. So they get great block touches, and it's really easy for me to run down balls. And I also have great defenders next to me, like Allie, and then Eva, an off blocker, and Ryan, and even Taylor. I mean, Taylor is like one of the best blocking setters like in the nation, I think. So their block touches and just our coaches get us set up in the right place. So it's really easy to play defense.
Eva, it was a obviously just a really offensive game for you guys, led by you. But a big disparity with the hitting percentage. Did it feel like a close match to you? You know, with you guys winning 3-0, but then you have the every set was close. So I mean, was it a close match, or do you feel you guys played, I guess, worse than the scoreboard?
I think emotionally and mentally, we just didn't execute on all the things we wanted to execute on. And we had a few things that we wanted to work on in this game, and I don't think we quite hit those. But I'm just really proud of our team for coming out with grit. And, I mean, it's a really scary thing when you're down by 5 or whatever in the second set and your season's on the line. So I'm really proud of these ladies for coming back strong.
Allie, you've been a part of a lot of these. What's the feeling like to gear up for this tournament? I mean, does the first game knock off any butterflies?
Yes. I think the first set of the tournament is always just like, I don't want to say nerve-wracking, but you have butterflies for sure, no matter how old you are. And so I am really proud of us for how we came back in that set and pulled it through. But yeah, I think every game in the tournament, like you saw the first game before us, like anybody can win. Everybody's fighting to advance. So I think just learning to control the butterflies a little bit, and I think we did a good job of that.
Chloe, your defensive performance, I mean, obviously people see the offense, people see the kills, but I mean, what kind of pride do you take in those 19 digs? Do you take maybe more pride in those than the kills?
I think it's just tournament time, so we've worked on it all year and in practice, but we know like once we lose, our season's over, and like I'll never get to play with these group of girls and these seniors again. So I think just having the mentality to go after every ball, even if I think I can't make it, because we don't want our season to end.
Further questions for the student. Coach, take it away.
You want me to start with something?
If you so
Yeah, sure. Really happy to beat this Western Michigan team. When you play a team from a different conference, you really never understand how good they are. We spent Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, hours of watching them on tape, and we knew that they had some unique qualities in how they ran their offense and who they were. They're a veteran team. I think they have 3 or 4 grad students that start, and they have a couple seniors and then a junior. So they're putting some veteran players on the floor, and everyone that I talked to about Western Michigan had nothing but great things to say about the toughness and how well they were playing. And I think tonight's match indicated exactly that how good of a team they are. What I'm trying to understand is from watching the match, but we out-hit them 387 to 211, which is a significant difference. We out-blocked them 10-4, a lot of those coming down the stretch. And we also out-dug them by a couple, and yet every set seemed to me like it was really close. So I think that's a credit to how they play and how tough they are. But also, you look at our squad, our 2 left side hitters had 33 kills and 2 errors, okay, against a really good defensive team. 33 kills and 2 errors. We only had 8 hitting errors the entire night in 111 swings. So, I thought that offensively that we were better than we were defensively, and usually we're a little bit better defensively, in my opinion. But tonight, I think because of playing a team that's a little bit unlike most of the Big Ten teams we've played, it was hard to get into some rhythm against them. But Colleen does an unbelievable job at Western Michigan. She's been there for a long, long time, and so has the top assistant, Ryan. And they do a great job year after year putting a great team together, and this year was no different.
Dave, can you kind of touch on what kind of a player Eva Hudson is when the pressure's on? Everybody knows she's a really great player, but she carried you at the end of that first set, carried you at the end of that second set, and got the block that ultimately ended this match tonight.
She makes coaching a little bit easier, for sure, when you have that kind of a player, and some of the others that we have. But keep in mind, not only do we know where the ball is going to go in those situations, so does the opponent. So not only at that point is she having to hit against a regular defense that's pretty good, now they're loading up. Now they're making sure that both their blockers are out there, and everybody has now figured out what kind of shots she likes to hit and where they need to be to stop those. But yet, as you mentioned, Sam, when it comes down to crunch time, she normally rises up and finds a way to help this team win. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Have you had an athlete like Chloe who can go out and give you 12 kills on a high hitting percentage and give you 19 digs in 3 sets?
Did she have 19 digs? I got 14. But she could. You had 19? 19. Oh, really? Okay. I'll stop looking at that sheet. Maybe Chloe Chacoin might be able to do that. I don't know if Ariel Turner ever did that, but Ariel Turner is the player, as we've talked before about, most similar to Eva as far as 6 rotations, doing all those things that you have to do. But we are extremely fortunate to have 2 of those kind of players on our team that never leave the floor and make it really hard for teams to score on, and also give you a great amount of offense. So if we've had somebody, it would either be Ariel Turner or Chloe Chacoin.
I was referencing Chloe.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Okay. Is that what you asked me about, Chloe, to
Yeah,
begin
Chloe,
with?
yeah.
I thought you said Eva. I'm sorry. That's been a long, long 3 days. Yeah, if it was, then it would be Eva that might be able to do that. But Chloe right now, Eva's a little bit better offensively. Chloe's a little bit better defensively at this point in time, if you compare the 2.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, Loyola is a team I think that came in here and beat you in one of those early season tournaments a year ago. Obviously, to sweep BYU on a neutral court says a lot about that team. A quick turnaround with, obviously another tough opponent up next.
Yeah, Loyola put on a show. They absolutely put on a clinic on how to keep the ball off the floor and how to tool the block and how to serve tough. I did not see that coming. And that's not to take anything away from any of those teams. BYU is a traditionally top 15 team in the country. Year after year after year after year. Loyola's not. They haven't been. But, we know how good they are because they beat us last year in our gym. But I just thought Loyola was unbelievable, the way that they played and the mentality that they had and the purpose that they came to our gym with. And they're going to be a handful tomorrow because there are points, some of the points we scored tonight, we won't score against those guys. They were just shots that we hit, that we scored on tonight. They're coming back tomorrow. Okay, now there might be some other things we can do to help out some other ways, and maybe we'll have some matchups that are better in other spots. But it was great that our players were there to watch that because they know what we're getting into now. Okay, and that should help them get ready emotionally.
Coach, at the end of that second set, Western Michigan kind of took some momentum there where they got a pair of aces that just snuck in.
Mm-hmm.
You call that timeout. What goes into that when you're down too late in the set trying to pull it out?
Well, we had the timeout left, and we're down 23-21, like you said, and they had a couple really good serves. I mean, sometimes you get aced, and it's your own fault. And then sometimes somebody serves the ball, it lands in the very back 2 inches of the court, like the second one did. And we had to call the timeout just to kind of regroup, and you hope that this team, because they've done it so many times this year, that they have another one in them. And we knew we had a matchup that was pretty good at the net. If we could just pass the ball, if we could just step in front of one and pass it, and get the ball to Eva in that case, and we did about 4 times in a row. and that was the end of it. So you're just taking the time out to try to get your kids to relax and find that one good pass off serve. Receive the serve one time and get the ball to your setter where we can go where we want to go and see what happens. And then we had them kind of back on their heels from that point on.
Had your two left side hitters really carry you through in this one, in a close one. What does the rest of the team need to do to, kind of make sure that those sets aren't as close?
Well, it's one of those things where when you know you're kind of going to a couple of people, the other players don't get rhythm. Same thing in basketball. If you're the guy that's a defensive player or a rebounder, and now all of a sudden you're supposed to score some points, it's hard to do because you're not in any rhythm to score points. And the same thing, if we're not setting our middles very often or we're not setting our right side very often, it's hard for them to get into that same tempo and confidence that your left sides are because they know they're getting the ball. So they're ready. Okay, they're engaged in that. But we have to score elsewhere tomorrow against this team. It's a different team, and so we're going to have to attack them differently. And we'll go through tape, right away and start figuring out how that's going to happen. And we're going to have to get some people mentally ready for sure. Yeah.
How do you think the crowd showed up tonight? Obviously, it's always big in Holloway, but do you think there was an extra push with the tournament tonight?
Oh, I thought so, for sure. I mean, I really felt like, when, again, we were down 2 games and found a way to work our way back into it, and you could hear the crowd, for sure. It's a little bit different than a home, it's a home match. You don't have the same environment, and not as many of those fans are all Purdue fans, but they made a big difference, as they always do.